Hey guys, this is a quick video on how to improve your crosshair placement in Valorant using a method that I took inspiration from Rainbow Six Siege. In Rainbow Six Siege, there's a cool trick to learning crosshair placement aside from just play the game lol. On the barricades, the top buckle is actually roughly where head height is, standing head height. So as you can see on the screen right now, I'm standing head height and I'm kind of just, changing my position here and there. As you can see, the Valkyrie's head is roughly in line with that top buckle on the barricade. I kind of thought to myself, is there a way to replicate this in Valorant? And the answer is yes with this method. And essentially it requires for you to be in a custom game with cheats on. It requires you to be on any map that has any of these Radianite boxes. Doesn't matter if they're stacked on top of each other. So this is on Haven, Bind, Ascent, Icebox, but not split. And finally, you have to be Sage. So I turned on my graphics real quick just to show you that with these boxes, these double stacked boxes, you can still do this method because the first box at the bottom here actually ends on this line, roughly around this line here. So yeah, so essentially what you want to do is you want to line yourself up with any of these Radianite boxes. But a quick disclaimer, you don't want to line yourself up with the one close to the truck because it's actually a tiny bit elevated off the ground. Whereas these are kind of just flat on the ground. And you want to line yourself up to anywhere on this box. I'm just going to put myself, just to say right here. I'm going to stare at showers because it's common practice, or just not really common practice. It's just really common for somebody to swing out showers into triple. And I'm just going to die to fall damage. You don't want to try not killing yourself outside on the map because you're going to end up in spawn. Like your body's going to end up in spawn. Now that my body's here, I'm going to res myself. And what happens when I res myself is I'm going to spawn another copy of myself. And now I can see myself from a third person point of view and the reference model being this Radianite box. Just a quick disclaimer, but I'm pretty sure this player model is a tiny bit slouched. What you see on the screen right now is a bit of a side POV of the training dummies, which have the same height as the normal player models or normal agents in the game. Notice how it's not as slouched as the Sage. The Sage's head is actually looking a tiny bit downward, but it shouldn't really be that big of a deal because this is actually a pretty nice accurate representation of where head height is. So now once you've done that, you want to basically use the Sage's head and the Radianite box. So this Radianite box here, not the second one, just the first one. And you want to use these two as a reference model on figuring out where roughly head height is. So looking at this, between the eyes is roughly where this angle meets. This is roughly where head height is. It's roughly where this angle here is created. Now that you know this, you kind of just want to aim at this angle here. Notice how, regardless how far back I'm aiming, I'm always going to be aiming roughly around between her eyes. Still aiming at this angle here. Notice how it's on the same line as Sage's eyes. And around just below our eyebrows. You can do this on any map but Icebox. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim at this exact same corner. I'm then going to pull out my knife and I'm just going to walk backwards. And I'm not releasing my mouse at all. And notice how, keep in mind her head is a tiny bit tilted downwards. Regardless of the case, notice how my crosshair is still roughly around head level to that Sage's head. So aside from this, other ways you can improve your crosshair placement is 1, obviously playing the game, 2, doing deathmatch. Now that you know this, you can kind of apply this anywhere on the map. So let's just say you have problems holding the player behind here. You can essentially just take fall damage here, look here, res yourself, and then kind of figure out where head height is using this box. This is kind of weird because her back is facing me, but from this I can see that head height is roughly where this angle here meets. If you ever wonder where head height is on a certain angle, you can always just get into a custom game now. This one's a bit hard, but obviously if you want to figure out where head height is when you swing from short, probably use this box as a reference. Head height is roughly where this angle is to Sage's head, roughly a tiny bit up from this angle created from this box here. So yeah, that's really about everything. I hope you've learned something from this really brief video, and yeah, I'll see you guys around.